Thursday, April 9th, 2020. So today we had a very interesting conversation during lunch. So my oldest asked a question, basically around cereal and milk. What do you put in a bowl first? Cereal first or milk first? That's a very interesting question. Simple but very interesting. Now, what would your answer be? Um, so for me, I like to put cereal first and then milk, and sometimes the reverse. Now, one thing I do enjoy is the crunchiness of cereal and the milk. So I don't like cereal sitting in the milk for a long time because it tend to get, I think the words I use is soggy, right? And I don't like that. So what do you do? Uh, what is your normal way of doing it? Do you put in cereal first or do you put in milk first? So that's an interesting question. That's the question for today. Um, Another thing to talk about is pretty much the state of things. It's interesting to observe how the reaction of media, governments, individuals to the pandemic that's going on from different countries. I think we're at the point where we have a lot more countries with the pandemic, and I'm starting to see a lot of um, I think so-called blame maybe or frustrations turning into blame, especially from our own president, uh, President Donald J. Trump, who pretty much lately insisting that it's not his fault. He's taking no responsibility as a leader and pushing it all onto WHO, China, whoever he can put his hands on. So it's interesting. Um, and especially his comment about pulling funding from WHO. Now, with that, there was a lot more things that came up as well as from other countries. I think there was some from Taiwan that I did not see. I did not myself uh, read the complaint or the wordings towards the WHO chief. And then and then the WHO chief came up yesterday and specifically said Taiwan was the one that criticized him. So it's very interesting to watch all these things. My thoughts on it is that even though if we lay out the data, chronologically in terms of date as to when they make the announcement, when they provide the information, I think there are leaders, maybe not leaders, I won't call them leaders as well. Maybe there are individuals out there that will be quick to point towards somebody else's fault. We don't know. Uh, I think as humans in this delicate earth, as we progress in our lifetime journey, our evolution, I think we're gonna learn new things. I think we will be faced with a lot of challenges. I think a lot of it is we have to learn from it. Uh, you know, Hindsight is always really good. Hindsight is always 2020. We don't know how what we do today has a specific impact on what we do or in terms of decision we make today, how that's going to affect us down the road. So we can only make decision as of the moment, and then down the road we have to retrospect, look back, and say, okay, what could we have done better if there is anything like that. I think in the midst of it, I think we love to blame people. We love to point fingers at other people. We keep pointing, but yet one of the biggest thing with pointing is that when you point one finger towards somebody else, you are pointing, you know, three or four fingers toward yourself. So keep in mind that I know people are not going to agree with me on this. Uh, I don't believe it's an issue with the information coming out. Uh, every country's every way of reporting the data and information. I think every person that is in the line in their duty or job to do those things, they I believe have the best intention in mind. I don't think anybody was intentionally trying to uh, cause harm to another country or another group of people. I think people are reacting to it as much as they can, just like anything else, because it's so new. It's something new that we haven't dealt with before. Do we know that it was going to transmit from human to human? We don't know until there is proof. As soon as proof comes up, then we react to it, right? There's no way of knowing those information. I think it's important that we uh, stay vigilant in looking at the data and not put any, I would say, biases and put any politics into all these things. I think there are people that love to do that for their own purposes. They all have their own motivation to do certain things like that. I believe that everyone's out to do good and not harm. So that's where I stand. So that's April the 9th, 2020. We are, in terms of the US, what it looks like to me, the data is showing, the curve is showing, is that there seems to be a slowdown. I think a couple of days ago, it was the double rate, the rate of doubling the numbers was about every 4 days. I think as of today, I think we're seeing somewhere between 5 and 6 days of it doubling. So it shows that it's actually slowing down a little bit. Now, as to the different state and how we react to it between the US, that's the whole totally different ballgame. So that's it for today, April 9, 2020. Milk or cereal? Let me know.